Hi everyone, Sonu here. In today's video, I'm going to talk about all the specialization and role in tech. This video is going to help you to decide which specialization or role you should target initially when you are planning for software engineering job. Second thing which I try to cover in this video is in this AI era, you should really think about software engineering job or not. And third thing is I'll explain you all the roles in tech uh, company that will help you to understand where you are going to contribute in your company. And fourth point is I'll give you one example of real world product where I'll explain what is the role of all the specialization and how all the specialization and roles work together to make product live on production. Before we start this video, I just want to give you a quick intro of this channel. Uh, I have 12 plus year of experience, around 10 year of experience I have in an Indian healthcare startup. I mostly joined this company in an early stage. That means I got gone through all the product development life cycle. And in tech side, I got opportunity to work on app coding, web front-end coding, back-end coding, cloud. I got opportunity to work on multiple clouds, security, compliance. I got opportunity to work on machine learning, prompt engineering. So in this channel, I am planning to share some of my practical tips, my team management skills. I will also tell you how you should start your software journey. Okay, so let's go to okay, so let's talk about AI. So nowadays I used to see lots of I would say it's a funny because when I see some of the YouTube thumbnail like AI is going to take programmer job, AI is going to take UX job. There are so many misconceptions are there, and mostly these kind of things are coming from a people who does not know software development. If you are going to ask me like, is it going to impact software development job? Yes, it will. It will actually, by the way, it will impact all jobs because in AI life, knowledge will be easily accessible. So that means one programmer can code in multiple language because you don't need that much experience to start building anything because now knowledge is easily accessible. You can find anything if you want some sort of architecture design example or any complex things you can easily find on ChatGPT or any others tools, right? So that means knowledge will be easily accessible, but still as an engineer, if you are building a software, that means you are building for a business use case. Business use case requirement is changing every day. So you can consider AI as a co-programmer or pair programming. Maybe you have heard of this term, pair programming. So it will be kind of your pair programming partner who will work with you. You can take work from AI whenever you need. Let's say I do not need to now remember all the architecture pattern or other things, right? I only need to know is uh, how I can build this platform, what component is required. I don't need to remember all the tech stack. Maybe I can take help of AI. I can write in Java that can be converted to .NET, let's say. Those kind of things can be possible. It can optimize your code. You don't need to connect to your senior developer just to understand your complexity of code. Those kind of things can be done with the AI. And that can give you a better advice than your senior developer. So you need to understand where AI is going to help you. This in AI era, what I feel is uh, I just saw this is very good for software engineering. because now you can focus on more complex things. You can focus on how to build a complex architecture, how to deliver a product, how to improve user experience. Though you can focus on more human-centric work, let AI do some of your dirty work. Like sometimes code review is painful. You can let AI do your code review. Of course, you need to keep eye there because you know what is the impact of your code. Let's say if you are going to merge any code, AI can uh, check what is the complexity of function, those kind of things AI can check. Although there are lots more tools are available which can check this. It's not like you need AI for these kind of things. But still, AI can do these things better. It can automate even. So as a lead, maybe you can focus on what just understanding what is the impact of overall software uh, by approving this. Let's say code release. You can focus on some of the complex things like let's not go into detail, otherwise this video will become a lengthy. This topic is nowadays there are so many misconceptions are there, YouTube or internet. So maybe I'll create a separate video for this. Today let's focus on because this video is more for a software engineer who want to start their journey. So I do not want to uh, go into the different directions right now. So let's move to next slide. How to choose right software engineering specialization. Okay, so this topic is very important. Right, when you are want to become a software engineer, you must know like what is your strength and interest. And if you select a specialization according to interest, then this is going to help you in a longer term because you can because it is coming from your interest, so you can focus more or you can contribute more, right? And you can grow easily in your company. In many of my company, have seen people are joining as a let's say front-end developer. After a month, they realize I'm not good here. I want to be a back-end developer. Sometimes I see people are starting with a back-end developer and then they realize it's boring. I want some sort of user experience things. I want to work on UI. So they move to front-end development. I would say if you select right specialization, then from beginning you can do a proper training in that tech stack compared to going to another tech stack. And most of the, I mean, I will say 10 to 20% of developers switch their tech stack after 1 or 2 year of experience. And by selecting a right specialization, uh, you can reduce that time, right? Any guess how many tech roles are in tech? I mean, I have listed out around 10 tech stack here, but I am 100% sure I have missed some of the tech stack. Idea is, but don't worry, with all the tech stack, I'll give you an example and then I'll give you my recommendation how you can start. You don't need to know everything, okay? But you need to know what all roles are doing, so it will help you to take a decision, okay? Okay, next thing is what is next in software engineering? This maybe you think this topic is not relevant for this video. Idea of adding this is I just want to explain you how all tech stack is related with each other, how they are working in a coordination fashion. They are not, I mean, if you are building anything, all role work together to make something live on production. So you need to understand what is the hierarchy of tech or how you grow in your tech. Okay. So this slide is pretty clear. Like when you start with the software engineer, then senior, then module lead, tech lead. Here you are, I mean, once you reach this journey, like tech lead journey, that means you are good in one tech stack, you are leading your team. Maybe sometime tech lead is responsible for cross-functional team, like they are managing backend, frontend, and QA. So uh, after this, what is next? Okay. One more thing you need to note here is it's company to company tech hierarchy change. Okay. I'm just giving you one example. It will idea is just to explain you how this software, how you grow in your journey, right? So after a tech click, you have a two part. Either you like more people management, you like more coordinating with multiple teams, delivering things on time, those kind of things. Then you can go to engineering manager route. If you like more system design, architecture, database design, you are more interested in cloud side of things, then you can go to software architect line. Here you become software architect, then senior software architect, and eventually after that you can become assistant VP, VP, and finally CTO. So this is what you can do in tech. Okay. So if you see this hierarchy, idea of showing this hierarchy is like you start your journey with one tech stack. Over the period, you become working in a multiple tech stack, and then you started contributing to overall picture of your software development. Okay, so let's take one example of app development, and in this journey, I will talk about what is use of each role. Okay, where they are contributing. This will help you to understand their work. Okay. So first step in any software development is business requirement gathering and product design. And this is very initial phase of software development. In this journey, mostly you need a product manager, you need a tech VP, CTO, business stakeholder. Once they connect together, they understand the business, then they figure out some sort of solution. It can be app, website, depends on business to business, right? Once you define the flow diagram to solve the operational challenge or any kind of challenge, right? So this discussion is very important because you need to go through multiple cycle. You need most of the time, like business have their own way of working. You need to and in tech, you need to define some sort of a standard, then only you can automate things, then only you can make a standard process for it, right? So this stage is very important. In initial discussion, once initial discussion is done, you need a UI UX developers who actually design a platform in a Figma, or it will design in an image form. So this will be feasible solution for a senior stakeholder. So you can get approval from, let's say, CEO, CTO, VP, product manager, senior manager. So they will go through the actual UI, and this require lots of iteration. Like once you propose something, then there are some sort of changes there. It's most of the time this require sometimes 10 days, 15 days of initial discussion to come with the proper solution which you are going to build, and that is going to solve a problem. Okay, so here you understand like which roles is required here. Now next step is like high level technical design. This thing is like once you get the wireframe design, BRD, uh, all things are ready. Now you can hand over this to high level software architecture or tech VP and CTO. All three will sit together most of the time. Like here, if you see in this role, software architect is who is going to execute this. So who will define the uh, database design, define the what kind of tech stack, what other things are required for this, how they are going to manage. So basically, software architect will create high level diagram of software. And of course, this will be approved by VP and CTO. They will also give some sort of input there. There will be lots of uh, iteration there because this step is very important because here, if you miss something, this is going to be a painful activity later. Okay. So once this high level technical design phase is done, now it's come to module planning and execution. There, engineering manager role will start. Like engineering manager take all the requirement, high level diagram from software architect, understand and then break into multiple modules, hand over to multiple tech team lead, and then actual execution is start. Okay. Now think this module delivery. So here tech lead role is start. Lead is started assigning to actual tickets to developer or multiple stakeholder. And nowadays most of the we are using like agile methodology to deliver things, right? So you started coordinated with multiple developer and you started delivering phase by phase, right? Then Then let's come to actual coding and development. So there is you have a software developer, you have a senior software developer, sometimes tech lead also contributing there. Of course, in this phase also your architect review your database because they have created high level diagram. But when you actually implement, after that there should be some sort of approval from them, or they will review your database diagram. So those kind of things in every stage there is some sort of validation you need from a higher authority or higher uh, hierarchy, I would say. Okay. Now next step is quality assurance. So in agile methodology, once you complete something, you hand over to QA. QA will test, and after that it again hand over to developer. This cycle will continue for multiple iteration. After that, it's fully delivered, tested, and integrated in a one place. Now it's ready for deliver. Okay. So this activity require QA developer, and this is also one of the important things in a software development because once you deliver, then you have to map whatever you have built. That should map your that should align with your business BRD document. That should align with your user requirement, right? So those things you need to check here. Next thing is data insight and reporting. These things are important once your software is live. So once your software is live, as a business owner, you want to know like how many users are coming to my platform, what is their response, is they are buying something or not, why they are not buying, what is their behavior, those kind of things. You need lots of data insight. You need some sort of reporting on a regular basis, and this things is very important because once you deliver something, then you have to keep monitoring this, right? Maybe because of bugs, user is not coming to second page or third page. Those kind of information is very important. Here, if you see some of the company like in initial stage, they are using Clever Tab to know the data user behavior. So this role is mix of you need one developer who will keep giving you lots of data, going to get insight from the data, and then they will present to your business owner, your product owner on a regular basis, right? And of course, you can utilize some of the tools, right? So I'm just telling you, this role is very important once your application is live. Okay. Next step is AI ML development. Now, sometimes people are thinking AI is doing everything. No, AI is doing some sort of module in your platform. Let's say if you have an app in production, okay, there will be some module where you are doing some sort of recommendation, you are doing some sort of prediction, you are doing some sort of maybe you are nowadays you can do a multilingual things. You can give automatic reply, chatbot things. So there you need AI ML developer. And also, so if you see, there are two things of AI ML. You are providing some sort of one way is like you are providing some sort of solution. You have built ChatGPT, now You have trained your bots on your business use case. Now you are able to reply, right? So those things where you need AI ML engineer because they understand the model, they understand your by taking your data pipeline data from your database, they build some sort of uh, algorithm which is going to solve some of your business use case. Okay, so here this role is relevant. Now cloud deployment. Once you build everything, your things are tested, right? Now you need to deploy somewhere, right? I mean, ultimately you are going to serve everything on internet, right? So then you have to deploy on cloud. So you need some sort of cloud engineer which will here, of course, in cloud development also you need multiple things like you need a CI/CD pipeline. So there is one further role in this is the DevOps engineer. Then you need a cloud engineer, you need a security engineer. So those kind of things comes under cloud deployment, cloud deployment engineer, right? Next thing is security and compliance. This things is also important when you are talking about. I mean, this gives a kind of credibility of your platform. When you are talking with any big company, they will say, why I should share data with you, and you should have an answer. You are some sort of compliance to fulfill your business need. Your data is fully protected. You are not exposing any kind of PI data uh, with a developer or with the within the team. You have some sort of uh, privacy policy or you have some sort of security things to control on over data, right? So if you understand these things, like every stage requires some sort of role, and of course, when you work in a startup, there are one role is taking multiple hats, but eventually you need a multiple roles. When your company grow, you can't you do not want one member to uh, keep multiple hats. It's not practical, right? I mean, cybersecurity now because of AI, ML, voice, right? This is one of the critical things. And of course, in tech, one of the important thing is every day things are changing. You need to keep getting a certificate. You need to keep reading every day, even every day, or maybe, I mean, as an engineer, even if I completed 10 to 12 year of experience, every day I read at least 30 minutes because reading is something you need to do. Okay, apart from your job, sometimes you are lucky you got that kind of opportunity within your company, but still you need to expose to internet. You need to read about new trends. You need to go through this kind of certification. In cloud there are lots of things are coming. You need to think about how to optimize cost, how to optimize CPU, memory. There are so many things are there. If you go to any roles, there are so many complexities are there. Every day you need to uh, read something. You need to go through some sort of certification. You need to go through some of them good online source to learn more. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to all role one by one. So first one is front-end developer. And this role actually include multiple things. Like if you deep dive into this role, like there is Android developer, iOS developer, hybrid app developer, and web developer. So there are so many variation there. But with React Next.js kind of language, now this become a more central role, I would say. I encourage people to like read React.js or React Native because once you know this, you can become overall product front-end developer because I usually divide this from backend development because for front-end developer, I believe if you are more interested for UI, UX, you want to solve problem for user experience, right? Then you should go for this role. This role required lots of empathy, I would say, for your user. You need to understand their pain. Let's say if your button is not making any sense, you should know that kind of things, right? You understand as a user how you feel if you find this screen on your mobile, right? So if you understand this process, I would say you can start with the front end development. Okay. In front end development, my advice to start a front end development nowadays is like you can start with React.js maybe, because here you can with React.js, because React Native and React.js can give you flexibility to build web, Android development, iOS development. So with one language, you are able to handle all three development. Then you can become overall front-end lead and who will be responsible for managing all the front-end development. And trust me, I have done the front-end development in earlier days of my life. In front end there are so many complexity. It's not like you think maybe uh, maybe you think like creating a UI is quite boring. You will it's just a color change. I also sometimes use this word, but when I go into detail, right, I mean, when you have to optimize your screen for a load, it's very challenging. Let's assume you are getting 10 million of hit on your website. Now, even let's say you have written your CSS, JS, that is few KB file. Okay. Now, with 10 million traffic, this will become a problematic. Then you have to understand about CDN, you need to understand about optimizing your CSS, you need to understand SEO. So many things are there. Same if you go to the app development, maybe you have created the UI, your UI looks fine, but you have added multiple nested layer. You have created layer and layer. Now, when you create multiple layer, the challenge is your OS has limit. Not everyone have a very smart high-end phone, right? They have a limit, right? And most of the time, user have multiple application open. So OS is only going to give you some sort of CPU and memory for your application. Then you have to make your app more optimized. You need to take care, you need to remove all the nested layers. You need to make, you need to resolve ANR, you need to resolve you can't do lots of things in a main thread. What I mean is you can't uh, hang your UI. So when you go into detail, this is one of the critical things. Most of the time when I meet, because I do the backend development, luckily I have done both things. But when I meet with the backend developer, they thinks I'm doing lots of coding, logic things in a backend. But when you see the front end, this is one of the critical things because you need to ultimately you are solving for a user. This is something which comes to your user when they see on application. They are not going to see your backend, right? So they will see how your user is responsive. Are you going to retain previous state? When you go to the Facebook again, you see your previous feed, right? That means there is no load. And behind the scene, they are loading, right? But when you come to your Facebook, you see your Facebook feed is there. So then you feel, yeah, wow, this is great. But when you go to another application, you see when you reach to their homepage, you see some sort of loader. But same thing you did not find with the LinkedIn, you will not find with the Facebook because they has optimized on that level. You need to add some sort of caching, you need to add some sort of they have reduced dependency on API. So what I mean is not make this complicated. What I mean is this role is very important and no one going to replace this, even AI, trust me, because AI is going to help you to build some sort of UI, some sort of a screen, but ultimately, eventually, when you go to any software, they have thousands, even 10,000 plus screens. Integration is something which you need to do. Optimization is something you need to do. They will help you. AI will help you. But ultimately, you are the one who know the business. You are the one who know how to uh, solve user problem, right? So there you need this rule is important. So Good luck. If you want to be a front-end development, you should start with React.js or React Native. You can, I think, find multiple courses available nowadays. And all the best for this role. Okay, so now let's talk about backend developer. So backend developer is who is responsible for building the API. Sometimes they are responsible for deploying on cloud, managing a cloud, uh, database design, system design. So those kind of things which come under backend developer. And for backend developer, you can find multiple courses like development, Python development, Node.js development, Ruby development, PHP, Golang. Uh, I would okay. So my advice for backend development is if you are passionate about design, you are passionate about algorithm, system design, you are passionate about uh, defining a system or cloud infra. In that case, you can go with this design. Okay. Sorry, you can go with this role. Okay. Here, you need to work behind the scene. So, I mean, front end is something which is exposed to user, right? But behind the scenes, your backend is responsible for delivering the API, uh, uh, fulfilling the order, making the operation and things, taking a payment. So those kind of things are something which belongs to backend development. My advice, if you want to backend developer, even if I heard this term multiple times, like Java is not no more in a backend development, but I still see lots of software development, especially in a startup, they are using Java Spring Boot because this have a quite a structure and you can code in a quickly, you can deliver. And now because of microservice, uh, Java Spring Boot is one of the favorite language, I would say. Node.js is quite popular in a uh, whenever I speak with any MNC guy, they talk more about Node.js because this is something quite popular nowadays. But still, backend is something like, for example, if any software is already built in Java Spring Boot, they are not going to change on Node.js. It's very difficult to migrate backend, I would say. And with the microservice architecture, now it's become very easy. Like you can maintain one microservice in another language, you can maintain another microservice in another language. Python is something which I find in most of my company. Not because this is the primary language, because of this, this is something used in multiple places. Like for example, data team is using Python, ML team is using Python. Some of the Some of the cloud function is in Python. It's same with the Node. Some of the cloud function is nowadays on Node. So I would say you should start with any of one language. Maybe my favorite one is Java, Spring Boot, or Node. You can start with this. Python is ultimately you need to know. This will ultimately come in your life. But if you go with the Java and Node.js, they have more well structure. You will know all the design pattern, those kind of things is very well defined in this language. Of course, in Python, you can go with the Django, but still I recommend you can go with the Java Spring Boot or Node.js in a backend development. Over the period when you switch your company or you go to another company, depends on their backend, existing backend. So you need to switch. Many time I coded in PHP because their platform is already built. You can't replace backend in one day. I mean, it's even in sometime. I mean, it will take years to convert your backend into because this is going to impact your overall business. So, of course, with microservice, you can start making some of the microservice in name language, and still you can support your legacy, right? So, uh, good luck if you're gonna start with a maybe Node.js nowadays or Java. Okay. Next thing is QA. Okay, so this role is for who is more, I mean, I would say like QA is a team who is more near to user, who understand how user will react with this UI, how how your software is going to fulfill user requirement. This is not buggy. It it'll it should not hamper any user experience. So those kind of things is taken care by QA. Even though many companies are talking about automation engineers, so on, so things, but still I have seen many companies are still doing a manual QA, and that is required technically because you need one layer of manual testing during the development. You need some sort of user experience testing there. You need automation engineering will help you to check if your system is working or not. This is going to help you in part of maintenance testing. There you know the flow, then you can write some sort of a script that will be checked, let's say twice in a week or thrice in a week, just to make sure like your system is working. Because QA can't go to each and every place to check your system is not working. Of course, QA can see the major module, right? But it can't see everything every day. So there you need some sort of automation testing. But still, I feel you can start with the manual keyword process. Eventually, you can learn about automation testing and you can start contributing. Third thing is like, so in QA journey, you start with manual testing, then you become automation testing. You started contributing to automation testing. Then performance test engineer is required because you need to test your load, you need to test uh, is your API is capable to handle some sort of load in particular peak hour or so. Those kind of things comes under performance testing. Security testing is very important in some of the case because you need to understand what kind of vulnerability you have. There are so many tools are available which will help you to identify vulnerability, but still as a QA, you should know what is the best practice, how you can see the SQL injection. So those kind of things comes under security testing. So what I mean is this role is also advanced. This start with manual testing, but eventually you need to know multiple things to become a good software QA. Okay. Okay, so if you enjoy more user experience, uh, if you are more near to product development, product engineer, I would say, then you can go for this role. I have seen many QA who started with QA, then eventually they become a delivery manager, they become a product manager because they know overall business, they know how from where this requirement is coming, what is the objective of this requirement. So, I mean, most of the time, developer is working in pieces. They are building say, one module, two module, or third module. But QA know overall business. What is from which business is going to impact because of this feature, how user is going to use this. So QA is more near to user, near to product manager, near to business requirement. So if you are uh, your attitude or your skills is more near to this, then you can go for this QA. I will recommend you go with the manual testing, and eventually you can upgrade yourself in a different area of QA. Okay. Next thing is cloud engineer. This role is like many time I have seen backend developer moves to this role, but uh, when you check in a startup, mostly I seen backend developer is doing these things. But when you go to any big company, you see there is a very separate team for this who is managing all the cloud infra. And this part is very critical because you are deploying, and when anything deployed on cloud, that means there are lots of vulnerability, there are lots of security threat. You need to understand the cloud architecture. So in some of the case, like backend developer becomes software architect and they become the cloud expert. Okay. So this is more close to backend development. Here you can start with the cloud engineer. I mean, for this, I am planning to create one course in YouTube. That will be a free, of course. There I'll start how you can start with the cloud engineering role. So I'll talk about VPC, subnet, load balancer, and so on. So this is also important if you want to be a cloud engineer. Nowadays, this is quite popular because of AI ML also, that is also going to deploy somewhere, right? So this role is very important. Okay. DevOps engineer are who know the CI/CD pipeline, who know the automation of code deployment. I'll give you one example. Let's say in any company, just because of microservice now there are 10 to 20 microservice sometimes, and even more, depends on company, right? Do you think it's manually possible to deploy everything? So that's why you need a DevOps engineer who automate those kind of things. Now next come to security engineer. This role is very important because you understand the firewall, you understand the DDoS attacks, those kind of things you can control here, web layers. So many things are there. It's a very complicated things. So when you go to the cloud engineer role, you eventually grow and learn these kind of things. This is a part of cloud engineering. Okay. Site reliability engineer. This is also related to cloud engineering. Next one is networking, where you understand the load and all loud. Most of the time, like in a startup, uh, one cloud engineer is taking care of all those things. But when you go to any big company, they have a particular specialized person who take care of these kind of things, especially security things, compliance things. Those are very important. Cloud migration engineer. This is also a like when you want to migrate from one cloud to another cloud, then you have to do proper mapping. You need to, let's say, for example, in AWS, they have JKE, that is sorry, in GCP, it's a JKE, but in AWS, they have a different Kubernetes. So depends on sometimes you have a in some cloud you will find auto manage Kubernetes. So terminology is different cloud to cloud. So this is also one of the role. Now my advice for cloud engineer is like if you like more cloud management, you like more security, you understand OS well. So for example, you understand uh, what is difference between window command and Ubuntu commands, you understand multiple OS, so you know the basics of OS, then you should go for this because this require lots of things related to OS, lots of things related to security. There are so many things are there. So good luck if you are want to be a cloud engineer. This is completely separate from backend development. If you go for any big company, okay, and there is lots of opportunity in this role to grow. Now come to data engineering. This role nowadays is very popular because of uh, every day there are massive amount of data is coming to internet. For every platform there are massive amount of data. Like it's not just like what data you are getting. You are getting user behavior. You are getting their activity on your platform, right? There are so many other things are there. So now reading the data, getting insight from a data is very important. And this require you need a one specialized developer for it. And this is not, by the way, it's a part-time job. It's a full-time role. There you need to understand your complex system, complex data. You need to find insight from it. If you're not able to get insight from a data, you can't improve your system, you can't improve your business, you can't identify leakage on your data, right? So those kind of things are come under data engineer. And by the way, this is very complex role. Okay, core responsibility. Okay, as a data engineer, you build data pipeline, and I'm giving you with my experience. I have done this part, so you can build a data pipeline. Data pipeline is like you are getting data on your. So, for example, I'm just giving you one example. Let's say app platform. You have a data in your main database. You have some data in your analytics database. For example, you have a Clever tab, you have another tools, right? So there also you have a data. So one place you have actual user data, one place you have activity data. By building a data pipeline, you can create some sort of insight from your data, and then you can build some sort of recommendation. You can build some sort of you can nudge your user, right? So those kind of things, once you build the pipeline, you get data from a multiple place, and then you store somewhere in cloud. Maybe sometime you can use big data, you can store somewhere else, right? So once you have, there can be a data Paraquet file, or there are so many other things are there. Basically, you look for low cost data because the data will be huge. So you need a data base where cost will be less in terms of storage, but query should be also fast. But you don't need that much fast as compared to a production database, because even if you are getting little bit delay, that's fine. Okay. So data pipeline development is come under this data engineer. Database management is come under this role. Although database management is something which come under backend development, but this database management is related to your data pipeline, related to managing this is database management, I will say. A role is between data manager and software architect. So both software architect can take care of production database. This can take care of database which is related for any kind of data pipeline. Okay. Data integration is there. ETL process is there nowadays, like machine learning requires some sort of ETL process. So in any cloud, you will find ETL process automation. So those kind of things come under data engineer. I think big data, Hadoop, Spark, those are the things which you need to know as a data engineer, because when you have a high volume data, you need to know where you are going to. By the way, I'll create a separate video for this, because this topic is itself is a bigger topic. So I have a plan to create a good video on Hadoop Spark, because their database selection, storage, processing, it's very complex. I do not want to add here. But overall, if you love to do a data, if you love, I think let's go to. So my advice here is, like, if you love to design robust data-centric platform, you understand data, you like to read data, you are able to find a pattern from a database, then you can